Hello, everybody, and welcome to Draft Horses, the show where the ponies are made up and the points don't matter. I'm Timsplosion.
I'm Akineko.
Hi, I'm Mecca.
Hi, I'm Melody.
And I'm Captain Horse.
And today on the show, we are going to be tampering with the timelines just a little bit. I don't know if you know this, but people have opinions about G5, so I'm thinking we make a better one.
I declare that this cannot go wrong.
Making it better than it's already is?
I can fix her.
We have technology.
I do find myself being like the main G5 defender among my friends when they're having conversations about it. It's like I'm talking about Starfield, you know?
Actually, this is my first time making an AU of G5 because I've never done this before. Yay!
Oh, yeah.
I actually wrote it.
People who follow my Twitter know that I have too many AUs. It's just like a fucking Lord of the Rings thickness.
I'm trying to think of a pony pun on Silmarillion.
Philly Marillion.
Damn.
Philly Marillion, yeah, there we go. Okay.
We're silly, we're silly, we're silly.
Jesus.
Yeah, so I think if it's alright with everyone else, I'll start us off on the pitch train here.
We're all in a boardroom meeting. Yippee!
Yeah.
Convince us to give you several $100 million to make this real, or we press a button and you drop into the piranha tank.
You get it. My pitch for an alternative G5, I'm keeping the movie entirely canon, but I'm leaning more into some of the themes that came up in the movie that I feel like just got dropped in the show. I really like Movie Sunny. Her introduction as a character is her placing anti-fascist graffiti while running from the cops on her way to disrupt an arms fair. That just vibes with me.
If nothing else, it's extremely strong characterization.
I'd like it back. I've got a few paragraphs written out here for what this series would look like. A monarchy deposed, a tyrant overthrown. Superstition exposes weakness and magic restored. Equestria is in a time of turmoil after Sunny Starscout reunited the gems of the Unity Crystal. And fear of difference and change still runs deep after generations of isolation. Sunny and her friends try to resolve the differences between the pony nations of Equestria, but evil still lurks under the surface. What is to be done with the overthrown dictator Sprout Cloverleaf? And more importantly, what is Cantalogic CEO and Governor of Maritime Bay, a slight change there, she's now the Governor of Maritime Bay, Phyllis Cloverleaf up to? And given how easily Cantalogic's weapons were used by the Maritime Bay PD to install a dictator, can Hitch Trailblazer restore trust in the Sheriff's Office? Or is something new needed to bring the shaken community together? So that's kind of the first thread. The second thread is, when a queen is imprisoned and neither heir has any interest in the throne, how does a monarchy bring power back to the ponies? And can Pip escape the trappings of tradition to keep her pop star status? And can Zip figure out what exactly Queen Haven is planning from prison before it's too late?
Ooh,
And
Secret Evil Queen.
yeah, I'm keeping her an
Damn.
antagonist.
That's gonna give them mommy issues later.
Oh, yeah.
And the third thread here, now that magic is restored, what does a superstitious nation do when thrown into a modern world? What new myths replace the old? And who is Alpha Biddle Deeproot, I changed his name, Alpha Biddle Deeproot communicating with in the depths of the Everfree Forest? I'm bringing that back as well. Izzy Moonbow finds a friend and ally in the shy Misty Brightdawn, but what is the truth about her heritage? And why do all roads seem to lead back to her? In a world rife with division, Sunny Starscout and her friends show that a better world is possible with unity, solidarity, friendship, and magic. That's my corporate pitch, kind of idea. So there's like three main threads there of like Phyllis Cloverleaf, Queen Haven, and Alpha Biddle, and they are all basically going to be so pissed off about what happened in the movie that they get together to bring about this ancient alicorn that they think can restore the status quo. It's kind of a past sins, if you guys have read that fanfic situation. Misty is kind of the restoration partially of the alicorn. Like the three bad guys are trying to unlock the hidden potential there and turn them into the big bad.
That's quite interesting. The whole thing is basically class conflict.
Yeah,
It's
the rulers of the old world trying to restore their position of power.
Yeah.
You can see how this leads very naturally from what I liked about Sunny's characterization.
It's a very Sunny first kind of pitch, yeah.
There's just a lot of world building elements that I feel kind of naturally pick up and would lead into a story like this.
You know the way that in movies like Zootopia, they get very close to the truth, but because it's made by Disney, they're not allowed to, make that last step. I feel like A New Generation kind of has that as well.
Yeah.
There's even a line in the middle of the movie where like, Hitch has lost his badge, and Izzy just kind of goes like, between you and me, that was creating an unhealthy power dynamic.
Right.
And that's like 4 letters away from saying ACAB,
On one hand, I feel like it was a really good opportunity to make him a cop, but on the other hand, I feel like because of perhaps the executive higher-ups or certain writing limitations that the writers are placed under, they aren't really able to kind of delve into the complexities of that. I was kind of hoping there would be an episode where Hitch kind of has like a crisis, like a career crisis, because he seems like someone with a really strong personal sense of justice, but at the same time, I feel like he could be in that push-pull of like him being with Sprout, and Sprout's just kind of like, I don't really care about this job. We're not upholding justice, we're just upholding the norm. I know this is like all like kind of heavy stuff for a children's show, but I feel like...
That was the point of the movie, though.
I feel like you could still, like, get this pitch in with, like, a TVY7 rating.
It's heavy, but these are issues that children are literally experiencing. It's not unrelatable. It's not unrealistic.
I was trying to strike the balance between working with and building on those themes while it's still being believable that this could get picked up. Like, I'm not going to have one of the characters turn to the camera and say, "Workers of the world unite,"
I would, but I'm biased.
Sonny turns to the camera, "Hey kids, let me teach you about socialism."
I love this AU. I love that it follows exactly what the movie was, trying to hit home. Because as much as I love the kid-friendly fantasy, oh look, everything's all better. Like, no, you've got, the theory is millennia of this segregation in this world, and nobody's just gonna suddenly be okay with it. Like, take Posey.
We really just fixed all of racism except for Posey.
Except for
Posey's a shithead, fuck her.
And I can totally see people like either putting in the comments of this video or just in general being like, why are you guys talking about all these political things? Why are you talking about social issues? And yeah, exactly. Like,
it's just the themes of the movie.
Sorry in advance to our comment section.
We're cooked for this episode, but
well, also, I'm just thinking of this as a writer myself. Like, it would be kind of challenging to take a really complex issue and simplify it to a point where a child could understand. Especially with Tell Your Tale, it just dropped all the social implications and issues. There's that dichotomy where it has these themes, but also kind of, because it's a show made for the purpose of selling toys, like made itself conflicted within itself.
Coming from somebody who, outside of the YouTube screen, does work with children professionally, like that's my job, we don't give them enough credit. I kind of want to use Onesies as an example. Where they didn't outright say Brandy is having fertility issues and that's why she's sad. The way that they explained it, there's something that she really, really wants that she just can't have right now. They clearly tackled the issue and told it in a way that the kids could understand. Like, I really believe that the core of the movie was easily translatable to its target younger demographic.
I think there is a degree of, they got their movie, they got all the A-list actors, and well, let's be real, B-list.
Calling Horse from Centaur World B-list is an insult.
You dare question the horse authority.
I have nothing but respect for Kimiko Glenn and Centaur World and like all their like Broadway stuff. When I say A-list, people think of like Brad Pitt,
Chris Pratt is gonna voice Sunny Star Scout in the new.
It's me, a Sunny Star Scout.
Oh god.
Wow, Chris Pratt's in the room.
Wow, Chris Pratt is gonna voice Izzy Moonbow. Hey, new friend. How are you?
As much as I personally dislike Chris Pratt, I think maybe he could have been an okay Sprout or Hitch.
I can see it.
Yeah, I'm kind of annoyed because you're right.
I was very surprised at the casting of Sprout. You wouldn't know it that he was the Spanish teacher from Community.
He wasn't he? Yeah.
No, he's amazing. I love him. He's like a brain surgeon in real life. Don't quote me on this. Google it. But
What?
Huh?
sure.
Here we go. Yeah, career 1995 to 98, medical residency, several years as a physician of internal medicine at Kaiser Permanente in Woodland Hills.
Internal medicine is not brain.
What is the brain internal or not?
Well, internal medicine more so just focuses on torso cavity organs. If you had appendicitis, someone in internal medicine would probably be like, hey, it's time to check you out and see if you got appendicitis. Why did I say that like a game show host? Congratulations, you just won our game. Who has appendicitis?
Look under your chairs. You have appendicitis.
An appendix. You got an appendix. You got an appendix. Everyone's got an appendix.
But you won't by the end of the day.
One of you lucky contestants is gonna leave with one less appendix. Who will it be?
That is how the American medical system works now.
Also, here's a bill for $50,000. Pay it or die.
You wouldn't have needed to get that appendix removed in the first place if you weren't so fat.
This has been such a great discussion. I hate to break into it and say I think I'm done with this piece.
It's your fault for coming up with such a thought-provoking AU that builds on the themes of the original movie.
This is kind of why I like G5 in general, because it brings up these conversations.
I think the most important question and aspect of discussion here is, do you reckon this AU would make a good show?
I think so,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, I would watch this in a heartbeat.
If you put a bunch of work into it and leaked it on 4chan or whatever, this was a pitch to Hasbro that was just rejected in favor of the other one, just for budgetary reasons, I would believe you.
Hell yeah, that's what I was going for. Let's take it on. Aki, what do you have to show us today?
Alright, I decided to kind of rewrite the finale. I actually really liked the first part of the main series. I feel like they kind of dropped the ball around mid-chapter 4. Things just started really getting dragged on and whatnot, but it was... I could work with it because I was like, no, the ending is going to make all of this worth it. It'll be fine. And then it wasn't fine. So my AU is after everybody gets to the Dragonlands and they meet Spike. Spike actually starts making a real connection with Misty. He still recognizes, Sunny reminds him very much of Twilight. He recognizes her as an alicorn. There's something between Misty and Spike. I want to kind of correlate it a bit to her cutie mark and her ability to change, her ability to adapt. Spike is also very familiar with the need of being able to change and adapt. And I think that's why him and Misty would have gotten really, really close. And when the team goes to try to save Spike and the other dragons from Opaline, after Opaline had imprisoned them, instead of Sparky touching Spike and breaking the spell, Misty actually goes through headcanon of this big beautiful monologue about, her self-love. She didn't, Opaline treated her wrong. She knows what true love is now that she's found her friends. Her cutie mark glows. She starts to lift up, and she actually uses her first real spell and breaks the hold that Opaline has on the dragons. And that's how the dragons actually get freed from Opaline's spell. It was Misty's magic. To which then the dragons, through more fighting, realize that there's only one way to keep the dragon fire away from Opaline. Similar to how the alicorns gave Twilight all of their magic in the movie, the dragons decide to give their dragon fire to Misty. And this causes Misty to change physically, and she uses the dragon fire that Opaline was fighting for her whole life, her entire existence, and uses that fire against her to defeat her. So that's my headcanon, is that Misty is using that dragon fire to defeat Opaline. And I think it's gonna make her look super cool, and it's gonna be really emotional and tragic, because as horrific as Opaline was to Misty, she was still the only family figure that she'd, ever really had. So this is essentially, Misty needing to go up against kind of her mom. As much as anybody might not want to admit it, that's what Opaline was. Opaline even said, I found you as a filly. So this is the only relationship, the only familial bond that Misty has had her entire life. I kind of want to circle back to the My Little Pony, the 20 whatever movie again, where there's other creatures other than just ponies here.
Oh my god, the minute you said that she changes physically, in my head I was like, oh my god, we're getting a fucking Dragon Misty!
Yeah.
Yeah!
Oh, yeah.
And I almost thought when you were drawing her dragon horns, I was like, wait, is she going Super Saiyan?
She's kind of going Super Saiyan. This is what I would consider the My Little Pony equivalent to going Super Saiyan.
Imagine she just gets like dragon claws, like fingers, and she's like, guys, help! My hooves are spiders!
The whole conflict about Misty basically having to stand up to the only mother she's ever known, I feel like that rings true with the experiences of people I know who have been in similar situations. It is one of the hardest things for them to do. Everyone around them can see that like they need to do it. They just need to, convince themselves to that's what they need to do.
There might be some really, really personal connections that I'm definitely running through with on here.
When you were describing the conflict, it was like, oh, this is like some real shit that Misty's going through. Escaping from a abusive or toxic household, and you need to have like, alternative support systems in place before you can really feel confident in coming into your own.
I mean, that feels like the story that they were telling from like the first time that you see Misty on screen with Opaline at the same time. You're just giving it the ending that story thread deserves.
I wanted Opaline to recognize what she had done to Misty. I wanted her to be redeemed. I wanted her to be like, oh my god, I can't believe that, like, you're totally right. I should have raised you better. To the point where I would even consider shipping Opaline with Alphabetal over the queen. Also recognizing that that's just it's not always how it works.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
I can see the appeal of both the version where Opaline is reformed and the version where she isn't. It's often hard to get those people to realize what they've done and apologize for it, but it would also be great for that to be in like a kids show.
Friendship's Magic did do something not a million miles different from it when they basically just denied Chrysalis any chance of reform, that she just refused it after like multiple times of asking.
There was a moment where you saw that they were thinking about it.
Yeah.
Like I was rooting for it to happen, but with the way that they handled it, I was kind of okay with them not going there.
When you started drawing this dragon and it was just the head and neck, I'll admit, my first thought, I forgot we were doing dragons, and I thought we were like bringing an infection AU into this.
No.
Oh no.
That's why they were asleep for so long.
They were infected with the sleepies.
Oh no, they were so tired. They fell down. Oh. I feel like it's important though, like clearly show manipulative characteristics and character traits and explicitly show that this is not a good thing or not healthy. I was so excited to see those moments where the main cast treated Misty with kindness, and then Misty kind of has that like realization like, oh, the way I've been treated isn't normal. Because I had that similar experience myself, and it's just like that kind of representation. It makes me happy to see. I think it's my own like personal thing because I'm really personally attached to Misty as a character out of all the other characters in G5. I mean, I get why Sunny like swooped in and then Opaline and her had their own battle, but I really wish Misty had her moment where she's like, I'm taking my power back from me.
Yeah, this is my life, and just because you raised me to think that I'm unworthy, I can't do this, I can't do that, and you tried to make me think that I was nothing without you. And it's like, I finally found what, the love is. And I know that that's not true. Like, I know that I have worth. I know that I can do anything that I set my mind to. And now that she's got her cutie mark, that it extra proves that she's able to adapt and continue forward from where Opaline had tried to keep her entire life.
I can picture in my mind's eye, like, Opaline being like, oh, you're being so ungrateful. I took you in, I raised you, and this is how you repay me? And then Misty says, I deserved better. You gave me the bare minimum. I deserve to be treated better than the way you did. And like,
Exactly.
I'm
good.
like, I'm so ready to cry. Just be like, Misty, I'm so proud of you, girl. Get her ass.
I definitely also relate to Misty in a lot of ways for that. Just I recently kind of disowned basically my entire like blood family. Like it's just me out here now, and that's okay. It's okay. I knew it was coming. This wasn't like a big surprise. It wasn't like a split-second decision. You know, it is what it is. To anybody else who might be out there struggling with anything similar, just know that you have a family. The blood really doesn't matter. Your family is the people who you choose to keep around you, who show you what love is. Those are the people that, you know, that really do matter. And if you want to try and reconnect familial ties with, you know, like, that's valid, and I absolutely support that if you think you can. But if you think that you can't, it's also okay. And that the people who raised you do not get to decide what your worth is. Oh, also Sunny is here because we need to sell toys.
Yeah.
The whiplash.
Sorry, we got real deep there. I needed to
Hey
be
man,
clear.
we're here.
I didn't know what to expect going into this episode, but it's really coming out like a personal therapy session for us. By the sounds of it so far. That's okay.
I just wanted to say really quick, editor, keep this in. I didn't mean to say like, oof, like, oh, damn, that sucks. Like, I'm sorry. I meant I did something similar this year. I had to cut off like a family member for very similar reasons. I want you to know I feel you. I understand what you're going through. I hope I didn't sound too insensitive. I apologize.
No.
How a bummer.
That's rough, buddy.
Yeah, and this art is coming together so well as well. This would make a great double-page spread comic panel.
Drawing so many tired wings. Trying to make them not like stand like straight up because they're like not the ones who are like doing the things. And here's Zip back here just being like, don't touch my sister, I'll fuck you up.
Love that.
Ooh,
And yeah,
kind of some of the fire.
Yeah, like the ends of her hair are like like glowing.
I definitely need to make her a little bit bigger.
Feathered wings are seen as like angelic, right? Whereas like the kind of spread bat or dragon wings are seen as demonic, and there's something to the imagery of both of these things teaming up to defeat someone. You done fucked up so bad you've pissed off heaven and hell.
Damn, even the demons hate your ass.
That sounds like the plot of a Diablo game.
Like she's embodying the hell that she's been put through under Opaline.
I am definitely here for aesthetics traditionally associated with evil being kind of the moral implications of them being turned on their head, you know?
Fuck her up, Misty. She deserves it.
Beat her ass!
Okay, yeah, okay. I do like
And it's
her
Misty
being
with the
a bit
steel
bigger
chair!
in the foreground.
I would love it if, like, in this battle scene, like, Misty nearly gets shot by Opaline, and then Sunny comes in and protects her, and she's like, don't worry, Misty, I've got your back.
Like, it was Sunny's idea instead of the Dragon's idea, and the Dragons are like, oh, we should listen to the Alicorn, like...
Oh, imagine if he's like, you know, you remind me of someone. Because I think I'd be doing right by her if I helped you guys, and I...
Oh.
Yeah, like, yeah, that, oh my goodness.
Alrighty, so this sketch is wrapped up, huh?
Yeah, we're doing line art now.
Hell
She angry. She got
Understandably.
angry.
Okay, so shall we move on? Bring the next AU in here. You've been quiet so far, Markup. Tell us about your AU.
Just go to your stream and it jump scared. Oh my god.
Yeah, while you were guys talking, I decided to just focus on drawing and stuff, and I already finished it a while ago. now I'm just listening to you guys like I'm listening to a podcast or something. But yeah. Okay, so basically I made an AU where Sunny turns into a villain, which I really want to see. I titled this AU is Out of Control. Sunny Star Scout out of control. Okay, here's the story. Alright. It's a story about Sunny Star Scout being treated nicely when she is an alicorn, but without her alicorn powers, they would never look out for her. Ponies only idolize her for being an alicorn and not when she was an earth pony spreading awareness and morality. So they just, you know, they just don't care she was an earth pony. They care about when she was an alicorn, yet they're like, yeah, I love you when you're just an alicorn, not the earth pony, because you. After that, she went on to her to a bright house. She started cleaning it. She discovers an unexpected truth. A journal hidden behind the boxes. It's from her dad, Argyle Starshine. Argyle, Sunny's father, wrote about his experience in his journal, documenting everything he did. He believed in magic and tried to convince other ponies to believe in it as well. His belief in magic stemmed from his wife, who mysteriously passed away after discovering something so beyond that she never returned. Ooh. The ponies in Maritime Bay thought Argyle was crazy, until one day he showed them real magic. The ponies were scared and alienated by the sight of magic, thinking it was demonic. Phyllis warned Argyle, but he didn't listen, so she told the other ponies to make him leave Maritime Bay. They chased him, and Argyle ran behind the lighthouse. And suddenly Hitch, the young Hitch, appeared, and Argyle asked him for help. But Hitch pushed him off the cliff, leading to his death. Hitch believed whatever the ponies in Maritime Bay told him and followed orders like a sheriff. Oh my god. This happened during like a super rainy night while Sunny was asleep. He was asleep when her father died. Oh damn. And everything was rainy, so she can't hear anything. So she's unaware of the events outside. The next day, when Sunny heard about the news about her dad falling off the cliff, they didn't tell her the truth. They said it was an accident. Hitch kept the journal hidden. Ooh. Fast forward to the present, she finally learns the truth. She realizes that everyone has been keeping secrets from her and using her to keep the place safe after what they did to her father. Her powers began to shift, becoming more powerful than before. Her anger makes her alicorn powers stronger than ever, and she's out of control. Oh my god, damn!
Dun, dun,
That's
dun.
hard.
Dun dun dun, and this is how I drew what the AO looks like. Why did you lie to me, Hitch? God damn it, why you push him off the cliff? Well, Sunny, Phyllis told me.
Oh my god.
I was just
Yeah.
following
So
orders.
That was like, oh, you know,
Following
like you really
orders.
care about our community. You should be our sheriff, and
Damn.
then basically like conditioned him.
Yeah, it made him do that shit and killed her
Yeah.
father.
You know,
Bam.
ACAB
crazy.
still a prize to
Everything
Hitch
with,
Trailblazer.
So what do you guys
everything
think?
so far with Phyllis has made Phyllis just even more of a villain than she already is. I think we can all agree, like, fuck Phyllis.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
Hate her
bourgeoisie are
ass.
not human, so
like she manipulated Hitch and told her to just, leave him out in
get
the
rid of
Merchant
him.
Bay. Yeah, push him up the cliff. Yeah, that would be a good idea.
He's sleeping with the fishes.
I am sure that this will
Lullaby.
have no long-term consequences.
This is so badass and so cool.
It's got that kind of anime thriller kind of Death Note-y vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me in a good way of the first like dark fix from like the early brony fandom.
Oh yeah.
Where they were kind of
Yeah.
like dabbling in like mixing in horror tropes. I remember seeing this Tumblr post a little while back about why there's so much like really dark like pony fan fiction, and then there's also like Breaking Bad posts about Walter like making home cook HRT for Jesse and stuff like that. And it's like the theory is that like you turn to fan fiction to get what you're not getting from the source material. And because Pony is all like, light and fluffy and friendship and stuff, it's like that's why people make dark fics. It's to
Yeah.
a gap unfilled. And
Indeed.
yeah, so that's me like retroactively justifying as like when I compare this to like early fandom grim fics, it's not an insult, it's a compliment,
Yeah, I always love reading all of those grim fics. Like I remember reading that the apple sleep experiment. If you know that,
I've heard of
that
it.
shit was crazy. That shit was crazy. All the plot twists and the gore is just insane. The gore bit, I just don't like the gore bit, but like I like the story. It's such an engaging story, and I love it. I got inspired by it, but goddamn.
I think
Here's
this
a look
really,
into my twisted mind.
I think
who's
this really
next?
brings out like what works best about like MLP, like dark fix and stuff, because like it's not leaning into like the blood and the shock, but it is leaning into the like, what if someone did something really fucked up and it had consequences? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, and it also fills the gap in the show, because I still don't think we find out how Sunny's dad actually died. I don't think that's ever
Yeah.
like brought up
Yeah.
as a plot point, so I think that's
Oh no,
it's an unexplored area for story. Man, Marka, do you even need to do a final piece? This already looks like a final piece. This is like so
Yeah. Damn.
like this is
You
as a
can make
sketch.
it
This
like
is
a,
incredible. Like
You can make it look like a screenshot. Like the
Yeah.
subtitles at the bottom are like, oh guys, I just saw this leaked screenshot footage of the new Make Your Mark chapter.
Damn. I think this
They're
is
taking
already
it in a
final.
really dark direction.
Damn.
oh yeah, no, this is cool as hell. I think when the episode goes up, your recording of the drawing plays while we're talking.
Another thing that it reminds me of with the Sunny kind of, she has the alicorn powers, and then she, has a reason to get angry and be vengeful and stuff. What it reminds me of is the movie Brightburn, which,
Ooh, Brightburn.
for those unaware, Brightburn is a horror movie. I don't know how good it is, but it has a neat concept, which is, it's basically, what if Superman, with, at like 8 years old, with all of his superpowers, had a tantrum with the, the benefit of all of those superpowers. So, he's, got the mind of a child, and also just the powers of a god. He's a movie monster, basically, as a result.
Yeah.
It's like an off-brand Superman, so it's not like, DC licensed or anything like that. But it's an interesting idea of just like, we don't expect this person who is, an innocuous member of society to suddenly want to kill everyone, and also be really effective at doing so.
Hell
Okay.
yeah.
I think we can take this forward then, because that's cool as hell. Melody, would you like to present us with the next AU?
I love making PowerPoint presentations.
Yes, I'm showing my inner Twilight Sparkle because this is a genuine thing I enjoy doing. Speaking of which, I made a PowerPoint presentation. Sometimes I just thought to myself, like, if I was to change something about the new G5, what would I do? I don't want to frame this as like, oh my god, I fixed G5, because there's people who work on that and who developed it, and this is my vision. Considering that G5 is anniversary generation, because we had that 40-year anniversary for My Little Pony, yippee! I decided to kind of make a hodgepodge of all the previous generations, like taking elements from every previous generation and kind of meshing it together with G5. So this is the basic premise. Megan and her horse, Minty, stumble into a portal to Equestria, getting separated in the process. Megan, now a pony, teams up with her other horse friends to search for her horse. And so, we have Megan. Because Megan isn't a normal horse name, she's given her the name Sunny Days. I based her name off of the G3 horse. But yeah, she's an earth pony. She can sense the magic present in plants as well as other living creatures. She's currently searching for her horse Minty. Oh my god.
We've been talking a lot about Misty.
Yeah. These are all like reinterpretations of the G5. So
Yeah.
Izzy is now Kerfuffle the unicorn. So the way this Equestria works is that it's separated into 3 factions. I'm just going off of that idea of like the segregation between the pony types. Pegasi and unicorns have a more air quote developed society. So I'll elaborate with Kerfuffle. Kerfuffle left the unicorn society in search of making new friends. Within the unicorn society, alchemy and the study of sorcery is heavily pressured upon people, and she was like, I'm not really into this, I'm just gonna leave. Her old name was Moonstone, and she's recovered from like this identity crisis where she was like, I don't want to keep doing magic for the rest of my life. I have vision. I want to sew things. I want to make things, kind of incorporating that whole unicycling part of Izzy's character into it. And so she's basically like rebranded herself. She's created a whole new identity for herself. And she's dubbed herself Kerfuffle. I imagine her meeting Sunny by like Sunny just appearing in the woods and Kerfuffle's like, hey, what's up? Like hi, you were passed out for like 6 hours and I've been just chilling here.
Hi, new friend.
Hi, new friend. My reinterpretation of Pip is Petunia Petals. I based her design off of the concept of 1920s flappers. She's still a performer, but she performs on a much smaller scale than she did in G5. She was outcasted by the Pegasi faction because she failed her flight test. I always thought it was interesting that Pip had very fluffier, very aesthetically pleasing wings compared to Zip, and I decided to make that a blessing because they're pretty to look at, but also a curse in the sense that she's not as physically skilled of a flyer. She's kind of physically impaired because of how small and fluffy her wings are. They don't really utilize themselves well to flight. So she hangs out in this Earth Pony Village and does these small shows for a limited audience, but she wants to expand herself further. This is Posy. She's the leader of this Earth Pony Village, and she's anti-unicorn, anti-Pegasi as well, by extension. So the reason why the three factions are separated in the first place is because of a war between the three. And she is a veteran, and seeing the war firsthand and seeing the cruelty that came from both unicorns and Pegasi, it's kind of caused her to justify her own discrimination, be like, hey, I saw the messed up stuff that went down. She's also the leader of the village. I'm sorry, I didn't really know what to do with Hitch. So I was gonna make a joke like, oh, Hitch died. But now I'm like, I'll probably explain this further once I get to the actual drawing process, because while you guys were talking, I have a little bit of an idea for what Hitch is, but I'll get to him when I get to him.
Sir not appearing in this film.
So this is Twilight Mist. This is Majesty's royal advisor. So Majesty is the replacement for Opaline. Majesty is the ruler of the Unicorn faction, and we're gonna get to her. Twilight Mist is basically season 1 Twilight. She just isolates herself in her studies, and she takes pride on being the royal advisor, being a skilled unicorn in magic. Her social skills aren't great, but purely because of the fact that she isolates herself. I based my interpretation off of Misty on what I thought Misty's character was gonna be like in the G5 verse, but I didn't turn out to be correct in those headcanons, so I just shoved them in this rendition of Misty. We have Zephyr Storm, sister of Petunia. She is the captain of the Pegasus army. She is also, like Posy, a veteran of the Tri-Horse War.
The Horse War.
And she has basically rejected her sister. She's been fully indoctrinated into the Pegasus propaganda. She views her sister as she was oh, she's lesser, she was weak, she's one weak link can break the chain, that kind of
it's very Spartan
philosophy she has. She takes her job very seriously, and she is probably the most aggressive of the main cast. This is my main villain just for the premise of this. This is Majesty. She's the unicorn tyrannical leader of the unicorn faction. And she has ambitions to take over Equestria. So while Sunny is searching for her her horse that was transported with her, there's this brewing political uprising going on between the three factions, especially with Majesty. Possibilities of another war brewing. Ooh. And then there's Minty. What happened to Minty? Where'd she go? It's a mystery. I wanted to bring Minty into it because she's a character that's been like consistently popular between every generation that she's depicted in. She only got a lot of screen time in G3 and then just was like, bye. She's in pretty much every generation, but for some reason always like just is kind of sidelined despite being very popular. So I wanted to make her the like mysterious character that, ooh, what's going on with her? That's it.
That's so cool. That's so
Hell yeah, I
cool.
love it.
I love me a good PowerPoint.
The PowerPoint was a nice touch. I love it.
Yeah.
I love making PowerPoint presentations. So I feel like
There's a lot of similarities to Centaur World, and that's like that's a good thing
Yeah,
because Centaur World rocks. So
I feel like Centaur World is My Little Pony, but with a few extra steps. Like, you know how there's been projects like Them's Fighting Herds or Super Animal Lesbian RPG that started out as MLP fan games and then kind of turned into their own thing. I would not be surprised if Centaur World started out as a My Little Pony fanfiction and then turned into an original show.
Yeah.
Turkey writing on it, so
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah,
I
that's
didn't
right.
know that.
yeah.
Like, it's Centaur World, but it's also a little bit She-Ra.
I mean, there is a common thread of like you know you first see this world and it's all colorful and bright. You spend like 30 minutes there and you're just like, oh, race war.
Horse War.
Horse divorce.
Friendship is Magic touched on some issues between the three horse types, and I was kind of hoping they would elaborate on that, and then they didn't, and I was like, oh, okay. Oh yeah, this does take place in the same universe as, like, Friendship is Magic, but it takes place, like, 10,000 years after the fact, so...
10,000 years is a very long time. Like, I don't think anyone cares about the reign of Hammurabi in ancient Babylon.
I'll tell you who does come up in, you know, regular conversation. Not regular conversation, but occasional conversation from back then. Ian Azir.
Oh, you mess up one batch of copper.
For those who have no idea who that is, Ian Azir was a Babylonian like copper merchant who became a bit of a meme. The earliest known complaint letter is addressed to him for substandard copper, and people found it very funny that like the thing that he is remembered for 6,000 years after he lived is being a pretty mid copper salesman.
I imagine, like, Petunia be just talking to Zephyr like, the war changed you. You're not the same anymore.
I am getting a lot of like anime.
You're my sister. I have no sister.
Oh,
Ooh.
it's the kind of progression that you get a lot from, you know, adventure anime and like JRPGs and stuff. You know,
Yeah.
it starts off all like bright and colorful, and then the consequences and implications just mount to a ridiculous degree as it goes on.
I took a lot of inspiration off of, like, JRPG type stuff, like traditional fantasy tropes, and I feel like a lot of times fantasy is usually taken to make some kind of political commentary, or it's like dark fantasy. I wanted to challenge myself because I'm more known for making spooky, grimdark stuff. I wanted to try to make something that I would see possibly being turned into an actual MLP property. Like, kind of intense themes, but still like, oh, I could see this being for kids or marketed for kids.
I mean, G1 Ponies was it did that kind of thing a lot.
So while you guys were talking and presenting your stuff, I kind of came up with this idea for Hitch. I imagined that he's kind of like living in the outskirts of all three factions, and he lives with dragons, and he not tames dragons, but he sees them as like his family, and so he feels disconnected from his other pony kind, you know. But I feel like that would be a season 2.
I just realized something about this piece as well, in that you've got the main trio who are going to be going on this adventure, and they've got to go through all three factions in order to get to Minty.
Yeah.
Like, they're separated in the image by all of the three factions.
Yeah.
I'm glad you picked up on that. That was definitely my intention.
Yeah, as of this moment, that's been your intention the whole time.
No, it was. That didn't.
Okay.
That didn't sound convincing. I'm sorry.
Sorry, it's sometimes hard to know when someone's doing a bit, you know?
I really like the idea of going that whole friendship rules. Friendship is cool, but having to navigate a very cynical, bleak world while also like upholding that like very wholesome, very almost naive philosophy, and kind of like, oh, friendship is magic. Oh yeah, is it? Prove it to me. Prove it. The idea is that these other three, Misty, Zip, and Posey, eventually join the crew, but
I did get that feeling.
like that.
Yeah.
Zip had big first bad guy who then just joins the party energy.
I like the idea that like once she joins the party, they meet someone new, and she's like, all right, time for interrogation, time to kill them, and they're all like, no! Zephyr! Zephyr, they're probably fine. You don't know that.
Look, we don't have the Geneva Conventions in this world, okay?
There's no horse Geneva Convention.
Oh,
I
got all
bombed
these...
Horse Geneva.
Anyway, if this video gets up to 5 likes, I might do like a makeshift animatic opening for this if people are interested. I can't just be normal about something I make. I'm like, we need to write down all the episodes, so we need to fully plan out all the narrative arcs, all the themes.
I just had a thought for like the comic relief of your Sunny just occasionally making human references because she's actually Megan and nobody getting them.
She's like, all right, I know how to settle this. Everyone, rock, paper, scissors. And Kerfuffle's like, did I do it right? What does it mean? How do I know I have scissors and not rock?
Kerfuffle has just come back with an actual rock. You know?
I really like the idea that Kerfuffle's just a little bit unhinged. Just a little bit insane. Like, I feel like rock, paper, scissors, and then she throws scissors at him. If you are interested in possible animatic, please screech in the comments. Oh, please, in the comments, give me name suggestions for this AU, because I don't really have any ideas.
If this video can get at least 100 likes, I will draw the next part of my headcanon for my piece.
Hell yeah. Sweet. Okay, so I believe that leaves Captain Horse.
I am surprised a little bit that nobody's like covered similar ground to what I'm doing here, which means I get new things to talk about. So the AU that I am going with is a science fiction AU, which we haven't touched yet, specifically a cyberpunk one. Now, cyberpunk is kind of like my bread and butter in like fandom art, but for the purposes of this, you don't need to know anything about like any of the other stuff that I've done. Just the general impression of cyberpunk: big cities, large corporations, world sucks, that kind of thing. Our main character here is actually Izzy. She's a repair technician with like Horse Apple. She works at like the Genius Bar. It kind of lines up with her, like, you know, repairing things and fixing things and unicycling and stuff. And her problem there is that she's too good at her job. She actually fixes the things that people bring in when that's not what she's supposed to do. She's supposed to tell them that their stuff is broken and that they need to buy a new one. Basically, in like the first scene, she loses her job because stop it, you're losing us money. This kind of like sets her like a little bit adrift. Well, what do I do now? And like while she's, you know, clearing her stuff, consolidating, you know, just moving stuff around in like her shitty 10 square foot apartment because this is Cyberpunk, a piece of paper falls out. And this piece of paper is, if you will remember, the little crayon drawing that Sunny made that says you have friends in Maritime Bay for someone to find, and it still found its way to Izzy, even though in this case Maritime Bay and Bridlewood are basically just like parts of the same like mega city. Basically with nothing better to do, she goes like, well, what the hell, I might as well, you know, try and figure out who sent this. So her first lead is Maritime Bay, so she goes to Maritime Bay, and poor old Izzy is a little bit naive. So the first place she goes to ask about, like, you know, who sent this, after doing like a little bit of cursory Googling and nothing turning up, is the police station, which is where we meet our second character, Hitch, who is just, you know, he's a police officer. It's basically, you know, almost nothing has changed. For this to work, she would need to have like figured out like a name at least. So she would probably have like the name Sunny Star Scout from this. Hitch just kind of politely tells her, yeah, it's very sweet what you're doing, but you should probably just go home. Just don't. You're not gonna like what you find. You know, don't just leave this here. And obviously Izzy is like sad about this, but like she's not gonna do anything about it because she's in a police station. It's like, you know, you're not gonna cause a scene there because they have, you know, all of the weapons of force. However, overhearing this is Zip, who is in a nearby cell, just kind of basically in the drunk tank. She's not there because she's drunk. She's there because she was arrested at a protest. I feel like I need to explain Zip a little bit. Zip is a racing driver. Zip is at the middle of a Venn diagram of three things. She is an adrenaline junkie, doing all the flight things and stuff like that. She is very technically minded. One of the things from before they launched the movie says that she, like, her hobby was science, which is a very funny way of putting it, but like, it's like, yeah, I get what they're going for there. And also she's rich, because her mum is the queen in the movie, and here she's just like, I don't know, some like old money person, minor noble, whatever. Rich adrenaline junkie with a head for like technology, also describes a racing driver, and I happen to like motorsports, so I'm going with it. The thing with racing drivers is that they kind of come in a wide variety of personalities. You do get like just very bland sports people. These days you kind of get ones that are basically just Twitch streamers, which is very funny. But like a couple of the more famous ones, like you know, your Lewis Hamiltons and your Sebastian Vettels, they kind of have a bit of an activist streak to them, where they like very publicly support progressive causes, and they will like use their positions to like, you know, bring rainbows into Middle Eastern countries and stuff to, you know, rep gay rights and stuff like that. So that's where I figure Zip is at. She's you know, she was at a protest. She kind of like, you know, was kind of flaunting her like, hey, I'm a celebrity. If you shoot me with tear gas, it's going to be on the news, as a kind of like that. You're doing that kind of thing. But she still ended up arrested and in the cell, and she overhears you know, Izzy talking about her thing, and Izzy is about to leave, and she goes, hey, do you want some help with that? This sounds like a fun thing to figure out. I've got 3 weeks before I need to be anywhere. Yeah. And Hitch is like, hey, no, don't talk to people in the cells. You know, don't do that. That conversation has to pick up a little bit later. Not long after that, just so we're like, you know, efficiency of storytelling here. Pip comes to, you know, spring Zip from jail, and Pip is, you know, she's still a pop star. Again, almost no changes. She's just like, you know, leaning a bit more into the aesthetics of like the idol culture kind of thing, and like maybe just like a bit of like cyber stuff as well. This is a thing that I'm also kind of surprised didn't come up in any of the things today. That like I really like the relationship between Zip and Pip as a dramatic idea that the shows play with. I think their relationship is super interesting. Of the episodes of the shows that I have watched, the episodes that focus on them are some of my favorites. So yeah, I'm kind of latching onto that. So Pip, obviously also from a wealthy background because they're siblings, and she's coming to pick Zip up and basically just giving her a lecture of like, stop doing this. You're gonna, you know, put yourself in danger. You're gonna, you know, you're gonna disgrace the family, and it's gonna have consequences outside of you. And Zip is like, no, this is important. And they're kind of, you know, it's you can tell it's been a topic of extended tension between them for a long time. Basically, the minute that Zip gets out, she just like, you know, finds Izzy again. It's like, hey, let's, you know, come back to my place and let's do some sleuthing. And Pip is like, what? And so Pip is just kind of like the unwilling third wheel for a lot of this. All of this is happening basically in front of Hitch's desk, as much as he tries to tell them to, like, you know, just stop, don't do that. They're rich, he can't tell them what to do. But he is suspicious, so he's going to, like, you know, be trying to investigate them the whole way. Hijinks ensue as Zip and Izzy try to figure out where Sunny is. Pip is unwillingly dragged along for the ride with Hitch after them. I have not thought of anything to do with Misty, unfortunately. I came up with this kind of before Misty started becoming a big part of the show, so I'm sorry, I don't really have anything to do with Misty. Sunny, however, I do know where Sunny is. Spoiler alert. You know, in the movie, she is, you know, an activist. It's the main thing that we know about her. Again, that has not particularly changed. It's just the context in which she is like this has. So, as kind of implied by the way that, like, Izzy and Hitch and Zip are just kind of talking to each other like it's normal, there isn't any, like, division between the three pony tribes. They're just kind of like, they are equestrians as a nation state. However, it's Cyberpunk, so racism still exists. It's just, you know, with ponies at the top, and then you've got, like, all the other creatures. So you've got, like, you know, your griffins and your zebras and your deer and your goats and all that kind of thing. And also, because it's Cyberpunk, capitalism! Yay! So I figured it would be a natural fit for Sunny to just get involved with straight-up anti-capitalist activism. This is how we know where she is, because she is in jail. The society does not like people who want to change it. How they figure this out, it's a whole thing. But, you know, the final act is basically a jailbreak, and like, you know, Pip and Hitch kind of they're the ones who learn something in terms of, like, hey, maybe society isn't what I thought it was. Izzy also kind of has an arc of, like, learning to... I don't want to say, like, learning to be more cynical, but, like, you know, becoming, you know, wiser and gaining experience and, you know, not being taken advantage of. And Zip is just a manic pixie dream girl. She shows up, throws money at Izzy's problem, and is just kind of like, well, I have to leave now, goodbye. Yeah, I don't have, like, a fully tight dramatic arc for the whole thing. I just have, like, the broad strokes and, like, some characterization. I feel like the characters are not, like, super different from, you know, what they are in the canon. The world is... It's just the world around them that is very different. This is much, much closer to G4 than any G5 interpretation. In fact, it's only, like, 60, 70 years after G4. The main six are still alive. Rarity is Pip's stylist, you know?
Yeah.
So they're just kind of around. They're not, like, super involved with the story. Oh, also, this is a non-Twylacorn universe. Twilight is not an Alicorn. She was, you know, involved with the Halls of Power at some point in the past, but she's retired now. She's, you know, she's off somewhere. But yeah, I like the idea of this being, you know, that much closer to G4. What I feel like it does is adds a kind of extra disorientation to the cyberpunk atmosphere, because it's the future coming at you faster than you are ready for. I basically spend all my time writing in AUs, and the main G4 AU that I write in is already, you know, kind of modern times with cell phones and cars and stuff. But, like, even going from, you know, characters who grew up, you know, with CD Walkmans and stuff, but, you know, by the end of their lives, they're like, you know, there's flying cars and, you know, cybernetics and stuff like that. It's just an extra thing to just kind of, you know, put people a little off kilter, you know. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
It's good. A lot of what my AU did kind of, like, subtly is very brought to the forefront.
Oh yeah, this is not even attempting to be a thing that could be released by Hasbro.
Okay, now I wasn't listening at all. Can you completely re-explain this story?
That's how you know it's a dystopia, when Izzy is like a telemarketer and she's working retail. Oh shit! I have to wear glasses now, and I forgot to put my glasses on.
Imagine being able to take off your glasses and still being able to see.
I cannot see my screen without my glasses.
Cries in -8.
I got into a car wreck and after the car wreck, that caused my eyes to look in two different directions, and
Ooh.
I didn't realize how bad it was until I wore my glasses for a long amount of time, and then I took them off, and I'm like, oh, there's two of that guy.
I remember growing up and like before they realized how bad my eyesight was, I was in elementary school with no glasses. Like my teacher would put on the Schoolhouse Rock videos. And I remember the first day I went into school wearing my new glasses, now I can see. And she put that video on and I'm like, there's animation to this? There's pictures? Who's the little paper guy?
Like my prescription isn't super strong, but when I was in school, I was straining to see the board. It was the headaches more than the vision that I was trying to prevent when I got onto glasses.
When it comes to vision, there's like two facets. There's like actually seeing, like with the eyes, the organ itself, and then there's the mental part of it where your brain processes the image. After the car accident for me, I would be like exhausted by 1, and I saw a neuro-ophthalmologist. He was like, your brain is literally working so hard. It takes so much effort to correct itself on top of all the other stuff you're doing that it's just exhausting itself, and it's using way more energy than it would normally do. The glasses are helping with that. It's taking out the middleman, it's taking out the brain, and it's like, hey, you don't need to correct it. The glasses can correct it for you. And so I can actually articulate myself. I can use words. Yippee!
So I'm
That's
blind
so
because I'm
interesting.
stupid. Okay, I got it.
It's not... It doesn't pertain to intelligence.
Maybe not to everybody.
I opened this thread and then didn't bring the follow-up, which is the right at the start of the pitch. There's Izzy comes to the police station and is like, hey, can you help me find a missing person? And Hitch is like, you should probably go home. But I mentioned you won't like what you'll find. She's a childhood friend of Hitch, who they went down very different paths. Presumably with the events of the story, it kind of brings them back together. No matter what happens, it's a very tragic encounter. The good ending here is Hitch has a crisis of faith, and he's like, maybe I should not be a cop. And, it helps free his childhood friend. But I already kind of wrote a story a lot like that. It won't necessarily matter to, a novel reader. People who are coming at this from my previous stories are just gonna, basically read the same story again, and I'm just like, oh no! What can I do about that?
You could do something of a little bit of a twist where Hitch has been working on a escape plan for Sunny for a long ass time and doesn't want these people interfering because you're gonna mess it all up. Let's say you keep the Hitch shoots Sunny moment. That's to make the government think that Sunny is actually dead so that they can get away scot-free.
Yeah, it's like I was doing a whole thing. You guys just showed up 5 minutes ago and you're getting in the way.
Is this Sunny?
At the just in the distance of this poster, just kind of semi-shrouded, just kind of oh, where is she?
Holding a baseball bat.
This isn't your dad, Sonny.
No, Sunny's dad is dead. Oh yeah, no, misread where the comma was in that sentence.
This isn't your dad, Sonny. Aw.
Yeah, Thunderdrome expansion, except it's running from the cops.
The narrative in Thunderdrome is so thin, just completely between the lines, the G5 expansion. It's called New Order. It's got the Cantologic logo, just kind of in a slightly different style. The track pieces that it has have the unicorn catcher ones that spring up a box, or it's got the X on the ground. The game mechanics can't support. You are in a box now. That is the thing that it is referencing. So you are just kind of racing through the streets of this hostile city that has these traps set for you.
Also, for anyone wondering, Thunderdrome is a racing game that Captain Horse made, available on GameCrafter or something.
Yeah, the GameCrafter. If you are coming to UK PonyCon, I will ideally have some copies there. On screen will be the finished piece.
Do you have a title in mind for your AU?
I actually did. In the context of, it's a G5 AU, then My Little Pony, but in the context of, comics that I might actually make, it's going to be Sunjackers. But the subtitle is Seek Your Star. following
That's
the
good.
following the X your Y format of like the other things are that like the shows.
She X
and
on my
with
Y
like
till
some
I see.
alliteration. And like they're looking for Sunny Star Scout, which is what they're doing. So it's the Seek Your Star.
Did she name her baseball bat? Because I feel like she should.
Maybe.
The Sun Whacker.
The baseball bat name is maybe. Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of details that I will just have to shake out when I'm finishing this,
Yeah.
because it'll take me a million years to find.
Honestly, I'm like really happy with how everything has turned out here. It's awesome how you can see how much of like each artist's individual style is just like in each of these AU.
Like not just in terms of like what genres people took the story into, but also like I think pretty much everyone just kind of like picked apart a different thing. The world status quo and Sony's activism with Tim's one, we had Misty's relationship with Opaline. In Aki's one, we had Sunny's relationship with Hitch, and Maka's Melody's was more like a reformatting of all the characters.
Yes to all.
And then there's like the Zip and Pip relationship, which I kind of stumbled into.
Dude, like while you were guys talking, I almost passed out because I haven't slept yet.
Oh no!
Yeah.
It's been a very long recording session.
Yeah, this.
Yes.
Goodness, no.
I'm trying to force myself to listen to you guys talk about the stories because I'm interested, but I'm very sleepy.
Yeah, no worries. We'll bring this to a wrap up then.
All I was gonna say was I didn't know how badly I needed a biker gang leader, Sunny, until now.
I mean, she does look good in that leather jacket.
With all that said, I think there's nothing left to say other than, dear Princess Celestia, can you please greenlight our shows? Seeking funding. Netflix is showing interest, but we'll take any streaming service that'll have it. 6 seasons and a movie. Your faithful students, the Draft Horses. I've been Timsplosion. You can find me basically anywhere on the internet under that name.
I am the real Akineko, and honestly same. Trying to see if I can't branch a little bit into streaming and officially looking into some voice work. So hey, I do other things than just drawing.
Hi, I'm Maka. Help me. I'm very sleepy. But don't worry about me. Check out my channel. I do animations. And check all of my friends here. They're pretty hella cool and talented. Hell yeah. And I love being friends with them. I am very sleepy. I have to remind you that. Okay.
I'm Melody. You can find me on basically anywhere under the name Melody Melancholy, except for Twitter, because it's Melody Melanchol. All my problems are because of Elon Musk. I hate him. I draw comics. If you like horses, comic, and characters going through psychological trauma, I'm sure you'll like my stuff.
I'm Captain Horse, spelled HOERS. Linktree.com/Captain Horse. You will find all of the various things that I do. I would like to shout out in particular askthesunjackers.tumblr.com.
And we'll see you all in another universe. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Bye-bye.